This is the Net Worth Difference Equity Appreciation Worksheet. This is to help you help your prospective buyers figure out how much wealthier they would be if they bought a home rather than rent. So even after just 1 year, a homeowner is going to be up, most likely, compared to a renter. Now, how do you calculate a net worth difference? I'll give you a simple example. If I'm up $10 and you're down $20, the net worth difference between us is $30 because you add what I'm up and what you're down together, and that demonstrates the difference. So in this worksheet, we've got 3 sheets. So we've got the results worksheet where you'll fill in the items in yellow, leaving everything else to the formulas that I've put in here for you. We've got the appreciation chart over 30 years. So again, you'll fill in what's in yellow, but not what's in green or white. And then the rental payments over 30 years, again, filling only what's in yellow, not what's in green. So in this example, we'll start with $1,000 in rent, and the mortgage we're going to assume is the same. Something that we're not factoring into this equation is the fact that the homeowner is paying property taxes and insurance in addition to the starting mortgage. And that's because there will be some savings because of tax deductibility of the interest the homeowner is paying on their mortgage. Also, the homeowner is probably moving less frequently. So we're not going to factor those things in because they will probably balance each other out. We're also not going to factor in the down payment of the buyer because they'll have that regardless of whether they rent or buy. So we're going to keep that separate. Although I will say that if you have a property that's appreciating, it will appreciate on the purchase price, not just the mortgage amount. But I just want to keep this chart as simple as possible. I do have a more complex chart that does factor in that down payment. So if you'd like to learn how to do that, just let me know and I can get that over to you. So in this case, we're going to start out with $1,000 in rent, and the mortgage we'll just assume is the same. So it's in white. It's just the formula. It's just grabbing from the starting rent up there. And then you'll pick up an interest rate, and in this case, it just starts with 5.5. In order to figure out the mortgage amount, we'll have to translate this starting mortgage of $1,000 to a mortgage amount based on the 5.5%, and I will show you how to do that momentarily. What is owed after 1 year of payments? We're going to look at the yearly reports, and I'll show you how to find that out. What is owed after 30 years of payment? Well, after 30 years, you've paid off the full mortgage, so what is owed is 0. So the equity buildup after 1 year is the difference between the starting mortgage and the mortgage owed after 1 year. The difference after the equity buildup after 30 years is simply what was the original amount. The new value factors in appreciation after 1 year, and after 30 years, what is the value of the home that's in addition to the original purchase price. This is the total rent paid after 1 year. So that's rent times 12 payments. And then this is the total rent after 30 years. We're going to assume a small annual increase. The bottom line here is you'll see that the homeowner is up by $9,400 after 1 year. That is the addition of the equity buildup, so by them paying down their mortgage, and by the new appreciation amount after just 1 year. So they're up over $9,400. Whereas the renter is down by $12,000. That $12,000 only got them a place to live, did not build up any wealth for them. So the net worth difference is $21,417 because the renter is down $12,000 below 0, and the homeowner is up $9,400 above 0. So you add the two together, and the net worth difference is $21,417.65. In the 30-year example, you have the equity buildup by paying down the mortgage. That's the original mortgage amount, and the new value from appreciation. Again, this doesn't include the down payment. So if somebody put in a down payment, then they would also earn appreciation on the down payment. But just to keep it simple, like I said, we're just going to work off of a 0 down payment assumption. So the value of the home, the new value of the home after 30 years is $395 above and beyond the original payment of the home. So that person is up $571,000. And the renter, because of 3% annual increases, they are down $570,000. So the net worth difference after 30 years at 5.5%, where each party started out with a $1,000 monthly payment, is over $1.1 million. I don't know what else is more powerful to get people off the sidelines than these two numbers right here. All right, let's go into the second 2 sheets. So once we go into Bright MLS, I'll show you how to figure out what kind of mortgage that $1,000 payment affords you. And we're going to assume a modest 4% appreciation every year. So you can see after just 1 year, the mortgage amount or house price that started at 176 is now worth 183, goes up to 190, 198. So you can see it's appreciating by, $7,000 or $8,000 per year. And it just goes up and up and up. And because it's compound interest, like for example, between these 2 years, that's a $13,000 increase. And that's because you're earning interest, essentially appreciation on the new base amount. So after 30 years, you've got a property value of $571,234. So that is what we are up, $571,233 in this example. You can see how powerful compound interest is, such that a property that you paid $176 is worth $571 after 30 years, just by modest 4% appreciation. 3 to 5% is pretty much average historically. So this new equity buildup after paying down the mortgage, that's just simply the original amount right over here. The new equity from appreciation is the difference between this amount, the starting mortgage, and the ending amount, the $571. So that's $395, and you can see that we put that was right over here, $395. And then the equity buildup after 30 years was the $176. And so when you add that all together, you get the $571,234, which is the same as the total here. I wanted to separate it out because you want to know how much you've paid down on that mortgage and how much you've earned in appreciation over the 30 years. Now in this sheet, we have this $1,000 is pulling from the results worksheet from page 1, so you don't need to fill that in. If you wanted to assume a different rate of increase, feel free to adjust this. So a 4% increase would be represented by 1.04. A 5% increase would be represented by 1.05. But I think it's more powerful to use 3% for rental increases and 4% appreciation, just to show how powerful compound interest is. Because you would think 360 payments of $1,000 is $360,000 over 30 years. But if you have 3% annual increases, which is totally reasonable, you'll have paid $570,000 over 30 years. That is $210,000 more because of those increases than a straight up $1,000 monthly payment. And also factor in the fact that sometimes when people move, their rent will jump up even more because usually they're looking for something different. Maybe their income has changed, so they end up paying a higher rent and they're moving to a different area than they would have if they had just stayed in one spot. Okay, so now how do we fill this in? So our starting rent is $1,000. The starting mortgage is the same, so it's just grabbing what's above. And we're going to use 5.5% interest. So we'll go to Bright MLS, and we'll go to Financial, and we'll go to Amortization Calculator. So the principal amount borrowed is what we're looking to solve for. So we're going to type in 360 payments, that is 30 years, and we're going to type in 5.5% interest, and the payment amount is the given, so $1,000, and we'll hit calculate. So you can see that that gives us a principal amount borrowed of $176,121 and change. So I just rounded it up. Now, in order to figure out how much you owe after just 1 year of payments, we're going to fill in down here. So you can just fill in, generic names. And then I always like to start at the first of the year. That way I can get, when I do yearly totals, I can get the full year worth of payment. So I'll hit report. And so you can see after 1 year of payments, I'll have paid down this loan by $2,372. That's here, $2,372. And that is actually taken from the fact that after that amount of time, $173,749 is owed. So I copied that, $173,749, and I pasted it into what is owed after 1 year of payment. So I filled in the original mortgage amount, and I filled in what is owed after 1 year. And then from there, the formulas that I've built into the system will automatically show you what's owed after 30 years, the equity buildup after 1 year, the equity buildup after 30 years, and then the new value from appreciation is drawing from the next sheet. So you can see on this page, this $176,122 is pulling from the results worksheet, showing us our original mortgage amount, and we'll just assume that modest level of appreciation of 1.04 and only change the appreciation because this is drawing from the prior page, And then this is calculating the appreciation each year from the prior year's worth. In case you wanted to learn Google Sheets or Excel even better, anytime you want to use one cell in a series of formulas, just put in $ before the column and the row, and that'll freeze this cell to be the cell that is used to apply the formula. So for example, I did C2 times D2. Drag the cross down. If I didn't freeze that cell, it would have used this cell to multiply by that. So I froze the cell, meaning I'm making the formulas just reference this cell and the cell above the particular cell that I'm in. So you can see this cell is being multiplied by that cell. If that's too advanced, don't worry about it. The sheet is already set up for your success. And then you can see the new equity buildup is simply the starting mortgage. This is after 30 years. And the new equity from appreciation is C32 minus C2. So we go C32, so that's the property value at the end of 30 years, minus C2, the original mortgage amount. So that's the new equity from appreciation. And you add the two of them together and you get the 571,234. And of course, that should be the same number as the property value after the 30 years. And in this sheet, all you need to do is, if you want to change the assumption as to the rental increase per year, again, percentage increases are represented 1 point whatever the increase. So if you said, oh, it's going to change 10% every year, do 1.10. And you can see that it's automatically going to adjust 10% every year again. But that might be too much, and it's more powerful, again, when I think you assume modest increases in rent rather than dramatic increases in rent. And this starting amount is going to be pulling from the results worksheet, so you don't need to do anything there. And then again, at the bottom, you can see that you've paid $570,905 in rent over 30 years, and your monthly payment after 30 years is $23.57. Let's use this sheet and do a different calculation. So let's just start with a $2,500 starting rent, and we'll do 5.25% interest. Now we need to find out what the original mortgage amount is based on a $2,500 starting point. So we'll hit revise, and we will delete that. We will change this to 5.25, and we will change this to 2,500, and then we'll calculate. So 452, 731.48. So 5 1/4, a payment of 2,500 over 30 years. That's what I can borrow, 452, 731. So that would be the mortgage amount. So I'll paste that there. And then what is owed after 1 year of payments? So that's where we fill in name. We'll put in the first of the year, hit yearly totals and hit report. And after 1 year, we owe 446, 347. So we'll copy and paste that there. After 30 years, we owe 0. After 1 year, we've built up 63.83 in new equity because we started with a mortgage of 452, and after 1 year, we only owe 446. So we've paid down 63.83 in principal. And after 30 years, of course, we've paid down the full 452. And then as far as appreciation goes, after 1 year, the property is worth $18,000 more. So let's look over here. So 452 is our starting mortgage at 4% appreciation. By the end of that next year, it's worth 470 and change. So that's an $18,000 difference. And then the net value from appreciation after 30 years, so that $452,000 mortgage after 30 years of 4% appreciation is now worth $1.468 million. So the new equity buildup after paying down the mortgage is, again, the value of the original mortgage, and the new equity from appreciation is the total value of the property, the 1.468, minus the 452. That's just over $1 million. So the total new equity is the $1.4 million. So the $1 million, excluding the starting mortgage, is there. And now we look at the total rent paid after 1 year is just simply $30,000, and the total rent paid after 30 years is 1.427. So let's look at that. So we start at 2,500. We have annual increases of 1.03, and at the end, we've paid $1.427 million in rent over that period of time. So the bottom line is, after 1 year, the homeowner is up $24,493. That is the addition of that new equity of $63.83 and the new appreciation of $18,000. So that's $24,000 and change. The renter is down $30,000 because they will never get that money back. So the net worth difference is between somebody being up 24 and change and somebody being down 30,000. That's 54,493. After 30 years, the homeowner is up by the value of the equity they've paid down, the original mortgage, and the new appreciation, so 1.468, and they're down 1.427 in rent that they've paid over 30 years that they'll never get back. So the net worth difference in this case is $2.895 million. And that is how you calculate the net worth difference between the homeowner and the renter over 1 year, 2 years, any number of years that you want to use, up to 30 years. Now, I want you to think about who in your life has been sitting on the sidelines and could benefit from building wealth sooner rather than later, and ask them if you can use their situation to calculate their net worth difference between being a homeowner and a renter over the next 1, 2, 3, or 30 years. And get them off the sidelines sooner rather than later. Good luck.